Hello, fam. Welcome back. I am honored to be back here with you guys. I love all of you, my cherished supporters. Thank you all for tuning in to Can We Talk with Jewel podcast, proudly sponsored by fundraisingcup.org Ministries. And so we are live. We are back ready to go, guys, ready to roll. Those of you who have been following us via audio, you guys are well familiar with the podcast, right? So, you know that we're just going to delve in to more topics here that uplift our communities and nurture our spiritual growth. And if you haven't followed any of the previous audio podcasts, please catch up here. I will put a link online so that you can catch up on Spotify. The title, of course, is Can We Talk with Jewel podcast. And I would definitely check it out. It has some really good gems in there that you guys can catch up with if you're not up to date, up to speed, so to speak, with our podcast. But today's topic is who is really in control. And I have a few short scriptures for you guys. Taken from Psalm 103:19, and it reads, "The Lord has established His throne in the heavens, and His kingdom rules over all." And another from Isaiah, declaring the end from the beginning, from ancient times, things not yet done, saying, "My counsel shall stand, and I will accomplish all my purpose." And finally, the last will be taken from Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. Those are the scripture readings for today, and they will be applicable to today's podcast, which is a strong one. So brace yourself. Okay. Um, let's open up and discuss how people have been using dark magic for a very long time to control others. And frankly, the time is up. Frankly, we are waking up, and many are seeking justice. Many are, many of you have heard me speak about this before, and I speak boldly, proudly against many occults and orders in our prior podcast because I survived it, frankly. And I want to define the difference between a series of misfortune and outright targeting here today, right? Because one absolutely has nothing to do with the other. One is rooted from individuals or organizations trying to manipulate someone through fear tactics. Those that know are either a part of these dark groups, victimized by these dark groups, and the others that don't know are simply kept in the dark until, unfortunately, they become targeted individuals as well. Excuse me. And in order to keep the informed people from sharing what's going on behind the scenes, behind the veil, if you will, and sharing this information with you all, they would often typically run smear campaigns, character assassinations, or ultimately question someone's sanity, right? All while dabbling, keep this in mind, all while dabbling in dark practices to make it appear truthful. Okay. So you have to realize all that's at play here at the same time, simultaneously happening. And I want to be clear and share that with you all because I know some people are wondering, like, how can this move forward with so many people unaware as to how this is working out, right? So you have to understand, for example, if I wanted to give the illusion or the impression that someone is not mentally stable, and I dabbled into um, dark magic, which I don't, but for the sake of giving this example, let's say that I do. Well, the first thing I would do is, of course, you start with the smear campaign. You tell people, hey, such and such is off their rockers recently. They just, don't seem stable, yada, yada, yada. And then they go behind the scenes now, mind you, their late night moon worship, whatever, they're involved in. And they're out here doing ritualistic things to their supposed gods, saying, drive this person mad, drive this person crazy. And so it's a backup to support the um the smear campaign that they already started. And so that's typically how they go about doing that, for those that are unfamiliar. Um, and so I wanted to kind of give you that background information. And people are waking up. They're fed up. They had enough, because oftentimes those that do not experience this deeper spirituality or spiritual attack, so to speak, will rather run from it and act like it doesn't exist, or try to convince themselves um, that something must be wrong with the person experiencing it because they simply fear the judgment of those who have not yet awoken. So, that's really what's happening at the core. And so I'm here to tell you all that there is more to spirituality than going to church, ladies and gentlemen. And the spiritual leaders, they know this, they're well aware of it. I know this because, again, I'm related to some of the most diabolical occult members that throw rocks and hide their hands behind these occults for generations. And guess what, guys? I'm a generational curse breaker. So you're getting the information here live, firsthand. And they do this especially when they want to steal something. I want to emphasize that. When they want to steal something like someone's property, someone's business, someone's inheritance, it really will, they will go and they'll put this target on your back, and even um, do some extra spiritual work on the side against law officials and judicial parties if needed. But because, at the end of the day, it's all about perception, and truth doesn't really matter, right? So when I say it doesn't matter, I mean, let's say you go to court and you know that a party is completely and utterly guilty of a crime, and the onus is um, on the prosecutor to prove that that person is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, they can create a false narrative that would make that guilty person look like they had nothing to do with the crime ultimately. But is that the truth? No, that's not the truth. And so we have to know the difference between what is the truth and what is perception, right? Like, what do they call them? Something mirrors. I can't, it's not coming to mind right now. But is it hidden mirrors, or it'll come to me. But anyway, unfortunately, guys, if you do not have protection from higher realms. And this is, by this I mean Most High God. I mean your ancestors stepping in to protect you. And I know this is something that's not really talked about, but I often post on social media to pay homage to your ancestors because they can, protect you. And this is not something pagan. This is spiritual order, right? There's a natural, universal order of things, universal laws, um, and they can help you. So, it's a good thing to pay homage and thank them, especially for the things that they do to guide and protect you. I know those of you that believe in spiritual guides, angels, and so forth. You know, your ancestors come back and similarly guide and protect you. Um, so, with that said, if you don't have that protection because you have gone against your family lineage and cursed them, thus curse breakers, in committing yourself to these occults and committing yourself to these dark practices, guess what? Your these ancestors are not necessarily there to guide and protect and help you out of it because you're creating a blockage on the whole lineage. And I know some of this discussion may be a little deep for some, but walk with me if you will. And so those of the individuals that do not have this sort of protection, do not understand this protection, um, a lot of times you're left to be victimized. Or for many of these spiritual practitioners, these warlocks and so forth, they see you like sitting ducks, whereby they can come in like vultures to attack and take what you have. And just a slight commercial break for those of you individuals currently today being spiritually attacked and need consultation, guys. You are welcome to book a spiritual consultation on my page, fundraisingcup.org/jewel. I'm here to assist you guys, and guide you out of the mirage of traps set by the enemy. Guys, I look back and I almost chuckle a bit, um, because I remember being in a season of trying to decipher whom I could trust, right? And I recall several occasions where my own supposed family literally stole all of my property and my mail. And guys, they were even wearing my clothes on social media. And I was like, um, Cat Williams in that meme that rotates around where he's like, do you see? I can still see you. Shout out to Cat Williams, and other truth tellers that push through being targeted. I always say after the false rumors of insanity, after they're dispelled, there we will find the genius. Anyway, that's what these devils do. They are eager to steal your items, your time, your energy with false narratives, and they don't even check to see if the coast is clear. They just start, rummaging, like I said, like vultures. And but that's what we would expect. They are of their father who came to kill, steal, and destroy. So once that contract is put out over someone's head, everyone involved plays their position, whether it is to harass, to set up, to stalk, hack, invade homes, whatever their role is in the project. And I say this because they run it like it's a CIA mission. It's really a shame. I mean, I say this all the time. People invested this kind of um, energy and group participation in something productive. I'm telling you, we would have the next Bill Gates or um, other billionaire in the making if they had this kind of support um, to build businesses the way they go about these campaigns. But um, you just it just blows your mind that they would invest this kind of energy and so forth. But it's this has been happening, for generations. And stealing is nothing new. It's just finding ways to manipulate and get around theft without being traced and, God forbid, murder. But, I know I keep hearing, and this is a side note, but I keep hearing a lot about being chosen. And, I'm always compelled to ask someone when I hear them say that they're chosen. I always ask, so have you experienced any kind of targeting, theft, any of the things that I mentioned above? And if not, then I wouldn't necessarily I would Okay, guys. Not surprised by some technical difficulties. Those that are used to knowing what happens when you start telling the truth with technology, understand and get it. So I lost about 10 minutes. Hopefully, we can edit that and get everything up and running again for you guys. But uh, where I left off, sorry, I'm a bit all over the place trying to get everything set back up the way I had it. And there we go. There's my other camera. And so, as I was mentioning to you guys before, there's a lot more that has to do with spirituality, perceptions, and, basically getting protection from the different realms and so forth. So, um, I went into the fact that I could still see my family while they were doing what they were doing, stealing my mail and so forth. And, you know, those of you that are not familiar with dark occult practices, you might uh, simply not understand what's going on. And like I said, I don't usually talk about celebrities, but I have a good example for you guys today. Take, for example, Sean Combs or Puff Daddy, if you will. Um, when he got incarcerated, one of the first things he said, if you recall, was that he had concerns about his meals and he was going to refuse to eat his meals because he thought someone would put something in his food, right? He had concerns about the safety of his food. And now, those of you who are unfamiliar with dark occults and practices, you might simply dismiss his concerns as paranoia of some sort. Um, but those of us who know, we know that he's not paranoid. He is very much aware, actually, of how much they play and sneak things in people's foods and drinks. Um, because it's just the fastest way to impact someone's health, mental stability, um, ultimately without anyone seeing. So, like, without any witnesses and without any interventions. And so, if you can affect someone's health without laying a finger on them or have any witnesses to assist them medically, um, most people would just dismiss that person's declining health condition as just a coincidence, so to speak, right? Um, but no, no. What he is describing, he's describing it because he knows that it has been done, it can be done, and it's still happening to many people. It doesn't matter if you're getting fast food, wherever it is, someone can be compensated to put something in anyone's food. And, I remind you guys to keep that in mind, especially if you become targeted and eat out. Um, but, at the end of the day, I'm not going to discuss whether Diddy is guilty or not. Um, because I think you guys can pretty much use your own discernment and tell. Uh, Elijah, so basically, what I said was, at the end of the day, I'm not going to spend much time discussing whether he did it or he didn't do it. I think our viewers can use their own discernment. But I will say this: if someone as high value as himself, who pretty much knows the ropes and can typically buy his way out of situations, can't do so here, what do you think can be done to a regular schmegular? I use the word schmegular because that's like a New York thing, but a regular schmegular targeted individual, right? Precisely. They would be systematically drained of their finances and assets first, set up and harassed second, stalked and hacked third, and likely forced into some type of imprisonment, mental institution, or just somewhere where they can be totally locked down and monitored. That's the playbook. Or if you have enough finances, you will be compelled to leave the country. It's that simple. I recall um, Dave Chappelle once saying, the worst thing you can call somebody is crazy. It's dismissive. Um, it's like saying, I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. And he ends it by saying that's BS. These people are not crazy, they are strong, they're fighters. And maybe their environment is a little sick. And that's what many people are up against, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very sick people in communities and environments. And we're hoping to open your eyes to this today, and see that, organizations and individuals bribed from targeting contracts in communities and environments are happening. They're happening. They're happening. We just must start to ask ourselves the right questions to get to the bottom of what's really going on behind the scenes. For one, how many organizations and individuals have taken out life insurance on a said individual collectively and randomly shortly before they were labeled insane or unfortunately unalived. So you're telling me hundreds of random people just started to pay into a random life insurance policy for no particular reason, Boy, I've never had so many technology issues in a podcast, and I can suspect why this was a heavy hitter. Um, anytime you share with people things that have been going on behind the scenes for a very long time, you awaken people, you shaken establishments, you um, you essentially share play by plays. These are all problematic for the way things have been done by the powers that be. And so anything to divert attention, because a lot of times when we watch, naturally, when we watch reels, videos, if we're even slightly distracted, we won't pay attention, right? They say most of us have almost become trained to watch 3-minute videos and then click on. That's why, um, you know, they create these distractions. So, but needless to say, the message isn't lost. And it doesn't matter how many times it glitches, it closes down. The facts are the facts. And the playbook is the playbook. And as time passes and more people realize, oh, wow, this is exactly the way Auntie Juju laid it out. She put it out there for all of us to see. Um, I think we will slow it down in numbers, and people will feel a lot more comfortable talking about their experiences and the theft and the greed and the hacking, um, without hesitation. So it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you, and take care of yourselves. Bye.